We're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Luxury Live Show. Today we have our special guest, G. I am GPS, who's back for I think is it the third time? Third time, right?
Fourth?
I was
No,
thinking this, either the third or the
Fourth.
fourth.
that's awesome. Anyway, a
I
repeat
think it might
guest,
be the
and we're
fourth.
so
Yeah.
excited to have you back. Thank you so much for taking the time because I know it's super early for you. But we're always excited to talk to you and to, chat since, get an update since our last chat. It was already, let me just give you, this was the first topic I wanted to talk about, which is to, just,
Was it April? Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
April of last
I
year.
I
And,
can't believe that.
I
That's been
saw that
almost a
you were
year.
into fitness. You got so fit the last year. You went to school. So, yeah, talk to us about all the updates.
Life.
Yeah.
Life.
Life in general.
Life
Well, thank you
is
guys so much for
so
having me.
different for you.
Yeah, no, my life has changed so much. So starting with school, yeah, I went back to school to get my second bachelor's in clinical psychology. Um,
Oh, that's so
yeah,
cool.
it's
What
something
was
I've
your
always
first
been
degree?
interested in doing. Business. So I went to
Ah,
Parsons and I've got a business degree from Parsons. Um, Yeah, so that was my first bachelor's, and it's something that I've always been intrigued by. And I try to satisfy this craving by doing some courses online. I did a course last year at Oxford, which I loved so much. I did some volunteering just to see if there is anything that I could do to kind of scratch this itch that I've always had this interest in psychology. But I felt like the more of these things I did, the more I learned, the more I knew, the more I wanted to learn, the more into it I wanted to get. So instead of these kind of satisfying this need, it just created more and more of this desire to get more into it. And for a long time I was like, am I too old to go back to college? Obviously, I am 20. I was 28 when I went back to college. When I applied to college, and I'm 29. I was like, is it too late? Does that mean that like my first bachelor's was a waste of time? But I really realized that it's if you want to make a change in your life, you never have to wait for a Monday or a new year or until you reach a certain goal. If you can start a new chapter at any point, you can wake up tomorrow and decide that you want to be a completely different person or a better, newer, more improved version of yourself, or just embrace a different facet of your life. Um, so yeah, so last year I applied to college. I applied to two different colleges here in Amsterdam. I got in and I was like, why not?
that's so awesome.
Wow.
How are you doing, by the way? And how are you liking your courses and the degree? Are you gonna become a psychologist?
Yes, yes. I'm the kind of person that when I set a goal, I'll reach it. So I'm not gonna give up. I'll continue going with it, but it's definitely a lot. Of course, I'm working full time. I'm going to college full time. I have Pi. I'm working out quite a few times a week. So it's definitely been a lot, and I had to reprioritize my life quite a bit. But it's just really highlighted what's truly important to me at this point. And you have to come to terms with the fact that you can have it all in life. You just
Mhm.
cannot have it all at the same time. There are certain things that need to be shifted, and people always say, how do you find the time? And I feel like we all have the same amount of time. It's all about priorities and what you prioritize. Yes, some things need to come out of my schedule at certain times to make things happen. But if I really want to, you know, realize a vision or bring something to fruition, I will find the time to do it. Where there's a will, there's always a way.
I love that. Um,
Yeah.
I notice for me, it seems like a great transformation. You look great. You look so good, by the way.
Thank you.
I love seeing your feed on your Instagram. Your fitness journey has gotten really, really serious. Talk to us about that as well.
Yeah, I don't really know how it happened. It wasn't really a conscious thing. I've always been into work, not always. I was definitely not uh, an athletic kid, to say the least. But I really got into working out. I think when I was in college, maybe freshman year of college, I got into working out, and then, as I said, your schedule shifts depending on what's going on in your life. Sometimes certain things have to get on the back burner, and other things receive priority. But this past year, I think it's been that I really took working out quite seriously. So much so that if anyone wants to see me, if any one of my friends want to see me, they have to come work out with me because I
Nice.
really don't have the time to see anyone else otherwise. Um, yeah, and it's just become part of my life and my lifestyle. I do work out at least once or twice a day. In the summer when I had more time, I definitely worked out 2, 3 times a day. Now I definitely
Wow.
don't have the time to do that. But yeah, yeah, I've been working out a
Two,
lot. I
three
took up
times a
running.
day. I'm
Yeah.
like, what?
So like morning,
Yeah,
lunch, and dinner.
yeah, like sometimes I mainly do classes. I rarely work out on my own. I do every now and again, but I either do a group class or I work out with a trainer or I work out with
Mm.
friends who are very inspiring and very athletic and they always teach me something new. So I rarely go to the gym on my own. I do it every now and
Mm,
again, of course, especially if I want to go really heavy with weights or sometimes working out in a class can be quite limiting. But for me, that was one of the things that really was like the reason I was able to stick to it is because I do these group classes. So my gym
Yeah.
has this thing. This was my method. If anyone wants to get into working out and they cannot find the motivation to do it this way. Sign up to a gym where you cannot cancel your class last minute. My gym has an 8-hour cancellation policy. So
Oh.
within 8 hours, you cannot cancel a class. And there's one thing you need to know about me. I do not mind spending money on jewelry, on the finer things in life. I will never pay for shipping, and I will never waste money on cancellation fees. Like if I have that, I'll still show up, not to have to pay the cancellation fee. So I've been
Yeah.
going to this gym for I think over 3 years. I never once had to pay a cancellation fee because I
Nice.
am just not willing to do it out of principle. It's an expensive gym. I'm not paying additional money to cancel a class because if I'm walking, I can show up and I can go to the gym. So that's how I was able to stick to it. This is my trick. So I cannot cancel my class 8 hour. You cannot cancel it 8 hour before the class or
Yeah.
the even a gym session you have to book. So you cannot cancel within 8 hours. So that kind of forced me to stick to it and show up. And I'm the kind of person that once I'm there, I'm not going to waste my time or the trainer's time by just giving the bare minimum. If I'm there, I'm going to give my 100%. Some days
mm,
that's my 100% is this much. Other days my 100% is this much. But whatever it is, I'm going to deliver my personal 100% that day. So if anyone is looking for a tip, this is the trick. Get a
Nice.
gym where you cannot cancel and get friends who enjoy going to the gym with you.
yeah.
I've
Group
been
classes
on.
work that way, right? It's just everyone is there for the class, and you know that it's a class. Then you're done.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love the reason I also love doing group classes is because, or working out with a trainer or whatever it is that you prefer, is because that is the one time that I have where my brain can really turn off. Like obviously
Mm,
I work for myself, I go to school, like my brain is always on. It has to be on because I'm always strategizing, figuring things out, thinking about the next step, what else I have going on or what's coming next. But when I go to the gym, I can really just be present for that hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, however much I have. And I can just really focus on being in a moment. I actually find it quite grounding. It's almost like a form of meditation for me going to the gym because you have to be present, especially when you are doing a class or even if I'm doing weights, like you have to be present because you want to be careful with heavier weights. So for me, that's really been not only physically a huge transformation, but also mentally, I have found it incredibly beneficial.
mm,
I've
love
been
it.
on my own kind of not fitness journey per se, but kind of like health journey as well.
Mm,
And it's never been. I don't even know what the adjective is. Like it's not easy, but it's also been kind of slow. But I found
mm,
momentum ever since I went on my big trip last year to Hong Kong because it involves a lot of walking. And
mhm,
ever since coming back, I felt like I got stronger, and then I didn't want the momentum to stop. So I decided that this year, one of my goals is to not just put on the gym gear, is to
mm.
actually like, because I can't rely on motivation. I don't think anybody can rely on motivation. For me, the way to do it, my way of getting motivated, so to speak,
Mhm.
is just to do it. Like you don't even think about it. It's like brushing your teeth. You don't think about how like you're not in the mood, you're aching here or there. Like you just just go and do it. Like the moment you start walking on the treadmill for 5 minutes, you're gonna end up doing the whole routine anyway. So it's been wonderful. But I just, that's why when I saw you, I was like, wow, it's just so inspiring. So I was
Oh, thank you. That
rewatching
means a lot.
I was rewatching
And
some
also,
of
I was going to
our
say, sorry, me
mhm,
to interrupt you. I was just
mhm.
going to say one last thing about what you said. Momentum and motivation ebbs and flows. Some
Yeah.
days I wake up and I feel super motivated, or something happens that really pushes me. I feel like heartbreaks are a great motivation, but those things come and go. You heal, and then what? You just go back to your old ways. So I really don't. Motivation is great, but you do need to have consistency. That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing, and you have to find a way to keep yourself accountable and be able to stick to something. And I did not start out by working out let's just say 7 times a week, right? Like I did not start out like that. It started out by me integrating 3 workouts into my routine, then 4, then 5, then 6, then 7. It wasn't like, I just woke up one day, I was like, okay, I'm going to go to the gym every single day, because I would have not been able to stick to it. You have to build up to it. And it is really consistency that will show you results. It's not you going to the gym in January every single day, and then the rest of the year you're just like, okay,
Mhm.
I've done my part. It's really about how you can make small changes that allow you to integrate these things into your daily life and into your routine and make it a routine.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was just checking on our last chat, which was, I guess, 8 months ago. No, 10 months
Mhm.
ago. Um, you said that you were after the Della bag. Did you get it? Like, I can't seem to recall if you unboxed it or not. I don't think you got it.
The
think
Della,
so.
the Della Cavalleria, right?
Yeah.
I know. I think it was the time before that we talked about it that I was looking at it,
Yeah.
because last time you already had yours, right? I think last time we had a chat, you already had yours, and I said that to me it felt quite soft. And I remember you saying, "Oh, but it doesn't feel soft." And I didn't. I was not referring to the tactile feel of the bag being soft and the structure, but to me, the bag itself, the shape was quite, curvy, and it had these rounded edges, which we know Kat really loves.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa,
Um,
yeah. It definitely has some rounded edges.
What else? How else are you gonna describe it? It is round and curvy.
Exactly, right? So to me, that made that bag feel quite a little bit too soft for my liking, a little bit too feminine, a
Mm.
little bit too, like, I would personally not buy a round bag, just as an example. And to me, it felt just a little bit too delicate in a way. At least that was
Mm.
my perception of it. So no, I never asked for it. I looked at it several times. I don't know if it was ever offered to me. I don't want to say that it was, because I can't remember. I was definitely asked about it because I know that it became available at one point. It's been
Okay.
out for a few years now, but no, it was never. It was initially on my. I was intrigued by it, and I definitely wanted to have a look at it. But after seeing it in person, I decided not to get it because it just wasn't something that I would have uh, appreciated myself. And I do also like the fact that it came out in the elongated version,
Mm.
because that I felt like was a great addition to the lineup. But yeah, no, it wasn't something that I was actively hunting for. I decided that I needed it in my collection. Do you still have yours?
No, I let go of mine sometime in the fall, before
Mm,
my trip for sure, because the idea of me, like at the time, my reasoning was I was gonna get this bag first because I knew the Constants had to wait since we had a one quota bag year. Well, we still have a one quota bag per year system, and so
mhm,
I was gonna try the Della bag until I get my Constants. And while I had the Della, I was able to see like the ins and outs of it and how I liked it and how I disliked it. And it turned out to be all the things that I realized, being a bit too, for you, it's too feminine. For me, it's actually too bulky. And I didn't
mm,
like that it was just crossbody, because the
yeah,
Constant, on the other hand, being able to double it up becomes more feminine for me. And I love that about it. So yeah, the
makes
Della had
sense.
to go. They were the same color anyway. So
Mm,
yeah. All right. So we have quite a bit of few questions from the audience, and I know you have some as well. So I want to go
yes, yeah, I
through
have them.
some of them, and I'll just toggle our screen back and forth like that. So
Mhm.
Justin, just right, he wants to know your 2025 wish list. If you have.
Okay, that's So I actually have a video going live later today on YouTube because I was so uninspired
Yeah.
this year that I wanted to go not shopping, but more browsing to see what's out there. To be really honest with you, I don't know if I really have anything on my wish list. Like, there's nothing that I'm dying to get my hands on. I did love Kim Jones's last collection for Dior. Obviously, he's leaving Dior, which I used to love. I used to be a big Kim Jones fan. I used to buy a lot of his pieces when he was at Louis Vuitton, especially because back then I had a corporate job. So I was wearing a lot of tailoring pieces, and he did some amazing tailoring pieces at Louis Vuitton. I was a big fan of his, and then when he went over to Dior, some of my viewers may remember that I was really excited, and I used to buy quite a bit of Dior tailoring, and then it turned into his like sort of reign at Dior turned into one collaboration after the next, and it became really streetwear inspired and really just like everything was plastered in the Dior oblique, which was a little bit too much for me. So I really haven't bought Dior in quite a while, but his last collection was black and white, which obviously black is still my favorite color. So yeah, I'm really excited to see some of those pieces. I have not pre-ordered anything. I don't think I'm going to pre-order anything because it's not like I have a need for any of these things. But you know, if I went into Dior and they had these pieces available, I would definitely like try them on. And yeah, there are a couple of pieces that I am curious to add to my wish list. A little teaser: I went to Tiffany for the first time in quite a while in this vlog, and I tried on the Lock collection, which I know, Amy, you're a fan of, right?
Yes.
Do I remember correctly?
Yeah,
Did you like the Lock
I
collection?
have mine on all the
The
time.
Lock.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have to be honest, I was quite judgmental about it when it first came out, because to me it was very clearly Tiffany's response to the Cartier Love bracelet, and I am not a
Yes.
big Cartier Love fan. I was back in the
Yes.
day. I have bought several pieces, not only for myself, but also as gifts for my ex-husband, because he was also a big fan of Cartier. So yeah, it's something that I do still have in my collection, but I just wouldn't wear it at this point because to me it's just become kind of a default for a lot of people. Like when someone thinks of fine jewelry, they immediately go to, okay, Cartier Love, which there's nothing wrong with, but I feel like if I'm spending so much money on a piece, I do want it to be a little bit unique. I do want it to be a little bit more representative of my personality and my aesthetic. And to me, it's lost that. It's become kind of common. I feel like everyone who's into luxury has the Love bracelet in some shape or form. And I know there are a lot of replicas out there as well, which, you know, is topic for another day. But yeah, anyway, long story short, when the Lock came out, I was like, oh, to me, this is very like Cartier Love adjacent or Cartier Love inspired. But I kept seeing it, right? Like it's around, like they continue expanding on this line, and they recently came out with a narrower version of the Lock range. And I was curious to actually try on their ring. I'm definitely a ring person, and I tried on their ring, which I didn't think I would like because it's oval. It's not a round ring. It's actually oval. And I was like, oh my God, that must be so uncomfortable if it doesn't go on 2 fingers. Because of course there are oval rings that go on 2 fingers, which I love the look of. I couldn't pull them off, but I do love the look of them. But I tried this Lock ring, and I actually really liked it.
Yeah. Did you try the original Lock ring, which is the thicker version? Because they also have a thinner one now, I think.
I did. I tried them both. I believe I did. Yeah, because the original is slightly thicker, and then it blends white with yellow, right? And then the new narrower version is all color. Yeah. So I definitely tried it because I tried one that was 2 metals in pave, and then I tried one that was all the same gold. I don't know if it was rose or yellow. And it was half pave, and I think that was definitely the narrow version. I prefer the newer version with a single row of diamonds. Yeah, I really like that. I also tried so anytime back in the day when people asked me for recommendations from Tiffany, I would always say the Bone Cuff by Elsa Peretti.
Oh, yes.
I love that.
I adore that piece.
I've been kind of eyeing that one too. I mean, I've been ignoring my essay. I don't know if he watches my live, but I've kind of been not ignoring. Like I do reply to him, but I've been trying not to shop as much lately, especially after my trip. But yeah, the Bone Cuff has been on my mind since then, and I actually was surprised because my essay does remind me of price increases. I was actually surprised that it didn't go up. I think it didn't go up, or maybe it didn't go up very much in
Mm,
this time in prices. So
okay.
I might check it out.
I have to ask
Yeah,
you, G.
I
So
have always loved it. Yeah,
what made you go to Tiffany? Like,
Yeah. So what do
it's
you
Valentine's Day
other than
coming
the
up.
ring? Sorry, can
Say
you
it again,
repeat
Amy.
that?
Sorry. It's
Valentine's Day,
Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day. Like,
Oh,
oh yeah, I
oh,
forgot.
It's it's my second favorite holiday after Christmas. I am very big on holidays,
yeah.
and yes, I love Christmas and I love Valentine's Day. Whether I'm single, whether I'm in a relationship, I love Valentine's Day. And I will treat myself to stuff for Valentine's Day. I don't need anyone to buy me stuff. I can buy my own Valentine's Day gift. I
I
really
like
have no
that.
issues with it. I'll buy myself red roses. I'll take myself out for dinner. I'll
Nice.
treat my friends to going to the movies. I'll buy myself stuff. Like I really have, I can buy my own stuff. So
Yeah.
I don't need a Valentine for doing that. So I was like, it's Valentine's Day coming up. Let me see what's out there. I have
Nice.
been very unlucky with buying fine jewelry. I bought actually a couple of rings last year, and none of them
I
actually
saw
worked
it.
out for me.
I saw that
Yeah,
unboxing of yours, the one with the diamond, the Hermes,
the Ariane,
the
the
Ariane. And
Ariane.
actually, I was looking at that ring. It was one of the rings that I was thinking of to stack with another ring of mine. Then
Yeah,
you were saying that you were not impressed, and I was like, okay, out of my forget it.
yeah. So the Ariane is one of the rings that I bought last year. It was something I bought myself for Christmas. It's a piece that it was on my radar for years. Like when I tell you years,
Mm.
I think it's something that I first looked at when I was looking for a wedding band at one point, and I looked at it and I was like, it's beautiful, but it was never available in my size. Back in the day, it took ages for those to be custom ordered. Then I saw one. I think I was in Belgium 2-3 years ago, maybe, and they had the white gold version available, but in an awkward size, so I couldn't try it on. And then I was looking for a Christmas gift, and also just kind of a gift to treat myself to for getting into college and for uh, pushing through a pretty tough year. And then I achieved some of my goals that I had for 2024. And I was like, this would be a nice treat. I had been looking at rings, but I couldn't find anything that I was really into. So I thought, if this ring becomes available, this might be something that I could pick up. And believe it or not, it became available online. I went into my boutique. We checked. They had, I think, 17 of them in my size available, which is unheard
Wow.
of Hermes jewelry to be available
70?
at. No, 17, 17.
Oh, 17.
No, but even that's a lot for Hermes
Yeah, that's
fine
a
jewelry.
lot.
Even that's
Usually,
a lot.
they have
Like
one or
Normally there's
two.
like
17
2 or 1.
Yeah,
pieces
yeah.
hanging around.
And especially in 57, because I am for Hermes, considering that Hermes jewelry tends to be made for women,
Yeah.
they tend to make them in smaller sizes. So I'm a 57. The biggest size that Hermes offers is usually a 57 or a 58, sometimes a 59. If the piece doesn't feature diamonds, sometimes they do a 59, but it's very rare.
Mm.
So I have been a 57 in Hermes fine jewelry since, forever. So they had 17 of them available. I was like, okay, let me get one. So I ordered it. It was an online order through my boutique. So it arrived to my apartment, but then I had exams. I wasn't at home for Christmas. I was traveling. Then I had something else going on. Anyway, long story short, it took me 3 weeks to get to this box to open it and actually try it on. And I tried it on in a video and it didn't fit me. The,
Yeah.
the ring just, it just, I
Yeah.
could barely put it on. And once I was able to squeeze it onto my finger, I was like, wait, this ring, I think it had gone up in price. So I bought it for over 4,000 euros and it went up
Mm.
400 euros, something along those lines. So I tried it on. First of all, it wouldn't fit. So I would have had to exchange it. And then when I had it on my finger, it just felt so lackluster. It was
Mm.
just so plain, like there was nothing to it.
Mm.
And stacking with other pieces, especially, I was looking at it in person, and in person, it was really just like, meh, like it was just like there was nothing to it. And then of course I filmed some close-ups. I tried it on with other rings just to make sure that it's really not, I'm not just returning it because, or I'm not just trying to exchange it because I don't want it, but it genuinely doesn't work. So I stacked it and it looked fine, but it didn't look like something that you spend thousands and thousands on. It was really nothing unique. I feel like with that money, I would much rather just buy a full-on eternity band with larger diamonds than have this thing that's split, and then there's nothing wrong with it. Like, I genuinely cannot tell you that it's a bad design or I dislike it, but I just did not feel like that it was worth it. And when I went back to try to exchange it, it wasn't available in 58 anyway. There were still a few 57s available online. I think quite a few actually, but there wasn't a 58. So that made my life so much easier. Yeah, I feel like if there was a 58, maybe I would have kept it. Maybe I would have kept it because it did look nice, especially with my Ashdunk ring. I tried it on with my CDC ring, and it did add a little bit of sparkle. So I think I would have considered keeping it, but since it wasn't available, it was an easy decision.
And it's expensive. It's so fine, and
It is very fine.
I think on its own, it doesn't really give much. But I guess you have to stack it. But then again, for a ring that's so expensive, it should be a standout piece on its own, right? That's how I kind of feel. But yeah, it's expensive. I think it's about maybe under 6,000 Singapore dollars here, which is a lot because you know the diamonds are like,
it's more
they're
than
like
6 now, I think.
I don't know how much it is, but the diamonds are so tiny. They feel like the chips off actual diamonds because they're so small. Yeah,
I think your description is so accurate, Kat. Like, I could not agree with you more based on my personal experience. Obviously, I didn't keep it. I never wore it because I knew that it wouldn't fit, or it didn't fit. But yeah, I think you're very accurate. And what was really surprising to me about it, I think I even said it in the unboxing, is that I was just so shocked how it had no sparkle whatsoever, because the whole thing is set in diamonds. Like, the whole thing is paving, right? Like, let's forget about the price tag. It is covered in diamonds, and it is a piece of fine jewelry. So even a little ring like this has, I think, okay, this one has slightly bigger diamonds, but like even a single row of diamonds will give you some sparkle. With that ring, I was standing at the window with lights on it, and it would give nothing. There was not a single sparkle whatsoever. Yeah,
I will say,
genuinely.
because you did buy it in the rose gold, correct? Pretty sure you
Rose
did.
gold, yeah.
So I will say, when I was shopping for my, I don't have it on right now, but the one with the elongated farandole. So I was actually, before I got that ring, I was considering the same ring that you bought. And I remember vividly trying it on. And my first reaction was like, they're about the same price range, like around 6,000. And I was like, why is this one, like, it didn't even, like, it was actually underwhelming. But it made a difference between white gold and the rose gold. I will say the white gold one is slightly more exciting. But I didn't want white gold at the time for that ring. So anyway, that might have made a difference if you tried it on again, but then maybe you won't. But that's what I noticed.
Yeah, I don't wear white gold.
Okay.
I think it makes perfect sense, Amy. I think I can definitely see it looking better in white gold, especially because, you know, if you buy an expensive piece of diamond, it will always be set in platinum or white gold or something rhodium plated. Or even if the ring itself is not platinum, the diamond itself, the casing, will always be in a white metal, and then the rest of the ring might be in a different metal. But I mean, that makes sense that it would enhance the color, the whiteness, or this colorless effect of the diamond. So it definitely makes sense, but white gold just doesn't look good on me. I'm already so pale. Like, white gold just really, really washes me out.
Okay, let's move on to another question by Alex Van. Okay, I'm not even going to try to say the last part. Have you noticed the increase of luxury items getting stolen in the Netherlands, like break-ins? And then she also has this other question, also from the same viewer. Do you think you have change in the way you see and buy luxury in the last year, which you kind of touched on?
Yeah. The first question I really have no intel on. I really don't know.
You haven't noticed
I mean,
any...
since Yeah, and also since moving to Amsterdam, I just really don't think that there is a culture of people dressing up here. Like
Mm,
you really rarely see people like dressed up wearing designer pieces. Of course, if you go to Hermes, you'll see people wearing the Birkin or
yeah,
Kelly, or if you go to Chanel, you'll see people, wearing the brand. But
yeah.
I personally, and maybe I just don't run in those circles, but I could count on one hand how many well-dressed people I see in a month, or people who I feel like really, dress up and make a statement out of it in Amsterdam. That's just my personal observation. I might not be going to the right places, but one thing that this also kind of links to the second question, like how I have changed, how I have seen my shopping habits change. There really are no places for me to dress up to, because when I lived in New York, I would go to CVS wearing Dior tailoring. I
Mm,
went to Parsons where my classmates wore, not everyone, of course, but I had classmates who wore Chanel Couture to class, and people used the Birkin as a school bag. And it wasn't about competition or that like you had to fit in or you had to wear these things to fit in, but it was kind of it was kind of part of the culture that it was seen as a way of self-expression, for you to dress well and for you to put a lot of
Mm,
effort into figuring out your outfit and what you're going to wear. And if it has nothing to do with designers and labels, some people were just really well dressed and they would they would thrift the best pieces. Whereas here, I don't see that being part of the culture as much. And again, I don't want to generalize. That has just been my observation living here for the past few years. So that has definitely shifted. Like, you know, in the past, I would have worn, you know, a full-on look to go grocery shopping. Here, I would look ridiculous. Do I
mm,
care? No. If I want to wear it, I will. And if people look at me strange, I mean, it has nothing to do with me. It really does not affect my life and how I feel about myself. If I feel like it, I wear it. But yeah, I definitely don't dress up quite as much. Or I don't wear those things quite as often because I don't think that it's part of the culture, in my opinion and in my experience. And also, I go to school now, so it's like my
mm.
entire life I either work from home, I go to school, or I go to the gym. So
twice
I
a
really
day.
don't have. Yeah, sometimes Kat, yeah, if I have the time, yeah. So yeah, so that's definitely affected like what I spend my money on and how I spend my
Mm,
money, because I have all these beautiful things that are sitting in a safe because they're not
Yeah.
being used. And it's probably also me changing, my personal style changing, and my preferences changing, because if I wanted to, I could pull these things out as I did in the past. But yeah, I think what I spend my money on and how I spend my money and the things that I buy have shifted drastically.
Mm.
like you've always been into fine jewelry. Would you say that the shift in terms of what you wear may have shift, like you said, you
Mhm,
don't wear the Dior jacket or the Dior, shirt or shoes, but does
mhm.
it mean it's shifting to more I find fine jewelry like the subtle part of the luxury, so things that you can hide under the shirt, you wear the ring, things like that instead.
Yeah, like I definitely still look at fine jewelry. Like fine jewelry is one of those things that I still am very open to buying and seeing and playing around with. I'm just kind of uninspired these days by
Mm,
most things. So I think that's perhaps one of the reasons I went to Tiffany, because I was looking for something new. And
mm,
to be really honest, yeah, I do still wear fine jewelry. Like that's one thing that I do still wear. But most days I just wear my Boucheron ring, because for me this ring is so perfect. Like I just love the fact that it blends four different shades of gold. I mean, three different shades of gold plus ceramic. I love that it makes a little bit of a statement on its own without going overboard. So to me, this is the ring that I wear most often. And I feel like no matter what other ring I buy, this is the one that I always go back to. And it does come in different colors and different width. So I was like, okay, maybe I should buy it in a thicker version or one with a different color. But I'm like, I still go back to this one because this one features the brown ceramics, which make it look almost black. But yeah, fine jewelry is definitely something that I am open to buying and I'm still intrigued by. And I
mm.
will always find that I'm open to spending money on those things. Yeah.
You mentioned uninspiring twice now. And like
Mm.
while listening to you, I was thinking, oh, maybe it's because your lifestyle has changed and you moved to a new
Mhm.
location. But it seems like it's more than that. Would you say that it's because the brands don't seem to have anything exciting, or is it just lifestyle mostly?
I think it's the combination of the two. I do
Mm,
think that even if I go shopping, like there are very few things that I'm like, okay, I could see this piece being worn here. And even if
mm,
I'm not going to those places, I could see myself wearing it. But I feel like a lot of the brands have become a lot about, they're not really about quality these days. They're more about
mm,
quantity. Like even going to Hermes, um, I definitely see a shift because I have been buying Hermes consistently for 10 plus years probably. Sorry guys,
mhm.
pie snoring underneath me. That's why I'm a little distracted.
It's
It's just
okay.
snore
It's
is
all
sleeping
good.
underneath me. Um, yeah, so I've been buying it for a long time, so I have definitely seen like how the brand shifted, not only in terms of their product line, but also the customer service. I feel like it's
Mm.
much more about now, okay, let's push out how many orange can we sell, how many of these
Mm,
t-shirts can we sell with the prints on them, and
Yeah.
how many of the, they're doing, they started doing this it was a wool set that they did a few years ago. I still
I know
remember the first
exactly
year it
which one.
launched. Yeah, so it was a limited edition launch that they did as a
Mm,
travel set. It was I think they did a pullover with a hood, they did a cardigan, and then they did a pair of shorts and a pair of long pants.
yeah,
And they have the H sort of woven into the fabric. So it's
yeah.
kind of like subtle, but it has the H pattern woven into it. And the first year they came out with it, it came in a handful of different colors. And I remember being asked about it, and they were like, this is selling like hotcakes. You need to get on it now because it's selling out, and it would be amazing. They showed me it came in this like little pouch bag. Do you know how like their swimsuits come in a waterproof pouch?
Yes.
So this set, it was kind of a similar idea. It was a commercial piece. It was when Hermes started doing more commercial pieces because Hermes ready to wear is split into ready to wear, not ready to wear, runway and commercial. So this
Mm,
was like at the beginning of them doing commercial pieces. So things that you can buy at airports, things that boutiques will always get seasonally. Anyway, they came in matching pouch bags that were made of the exact same wool material as
mhm.
the pieces themselves. So the idea was that you would carry them in your suitcase for traveling. You wouldn't actually wear these out, but you would wear them for flying and then put them into your suitcase when you get to your destination. Now, I'm not sure how many people in reality actually change on an airplane, but
I know.
you know, glamorous idea. I love it. I love romanticizing these things. Um, yeah. Anyway, so those came out, and then they just continued running with it. Like now, every single year, every single
Yeah.
season, they come out with them in different colors and in different lengths
What
and in
is
different.
this? I don't even
It's
know
the
what is
pants that
this.
I have. It's the wool pants that I have.
I don't even
It's
know what they're called.
Oh.
it's that
Like,
one. It's like it's so true. You're so right. I haven't bought Hermes
yeah.
as long as you have, but it's my fourth. I can't remember.
Mm,
Fourth, fifth year. I don't know. And all I can say is the first time I saw this collection, the commercial H whatever knit,
yeah.
I was definitely very drawn to it. But in my head, I was like also thinking, it's too like it just seems so repetitive because I noticed that it came out every single season. Literally, it was the same pattern, but maybe they changed the length of the pants a little bit, or something like that. But it's the same
Exactly.
exact pattern. But
The
I never
exact same
bought
thing.
it.
And yeah, yeah.
Sorry, I was gonna say I never bought it until my essay convinced me that I needed the pants because they were the crop version, which meant that they would suit me since I was a bit shorter
Mm,
than because the long versions are pretty long. But I never wore those pants. I never want to wear those pants because you described it exactly. How often would you lounge in fancy wool H pants, right? Like, and to wear them on the airport or to transport them back and forth, change into, it's just not practical. So yeah, they're just sitting like right there, being unused.
yeah.
Such a waste of money.
Especially sweatpants. Don't forget that wool is gonna fray, it's gonna peel. And I have
Yes.
to say, one thing that I have to say is Hermes's wool and cashmere is phenomenal. Like the quality, I have cashmere pieces from Hermes that are 5, 6, 7 years old, and they look as good as new. Now, I do dry clean them. I don't wash them myself, but their wool and their cashmere pieces is phenomenal. And actually, I actually brought out some things because I was like, oh, if we're going to talk about luxury, I haven't bought anything in ages, but I can show you some of my favorite things.
Awesome.
And one
Let's
thing
make you bigger.
that I love.
Bigger.
Oops.
There we go. Nice.
Yeah, so one thing that I do love from Hermes, I have to say, this was this they came out with. Don't quote me on this, but I want to say they came out with this a couple of years ago. And this was also part of their commercial line, inspired by that H, whatever it's called. I don't know what it's, but you know what I'm talking about, that collection. So they came out with these sweaters, which are an oversized but cropped sweater from the women's collection. And I love anything with a spine detail. You know how Rick Owens, this is Rick Owens, but you're not going to see because it's on the back. Rick Owens has always been known for having this column that runs down your spine. And that's where like the fabric is joined. And then the row copied that from Rick Owens. So all of their pieces, all of their knits will have a straight line running down your spine, which I love. I'm a sucker for these details. Anytime I see a piece of knit with a spine detail, I have to get it. It's just like something that I'm obsessed with. And then Hermes came out with their own version of it, but this one has a line running down the front and also the back, and it also has these lines running down the sleeve. And it is, when I tell you that this is the thickest, chunkiest, most substantial piece of knit, I'm not kidding. Like it is. But it's not overwhelmed. You know, like, of course, I have those chunky knits that are like made of those like huge like knits, like those big, when they're woven that way, you know, that they're like really like heavy. This is not like that. It's just made of like a regular material, but it almost feels like scuba diving material, like, you know, that neoprene fabric. It almost feels like that, but it's a blend of wool, cashmere, and silk. So this came out a few years or a couple years after that H collection. And they do these in a few different colors. Each season that changes, and they're actually reversible. So on the inside, they have the H pattern.
Oh, yes.
And the idea is that you can reverse it. So you can either get a sweater that's covered in H, or you just have one that's a solid color.
Wow.
As you can tell, yeah. And as you can tell, I've not. So you would have to cut out the label from the back. It's stitched on with they have the same like delicate stitching that they have on their scarves. So because, you know, silk scarves shouldn't have labels in them. So you will notice that if someone is a true scarf collector, true silk collector from Hermes, they'll never wear a scarf with the Hermes label in there, because those things are not meant to stay in there. They are in there for legal reasons. So you know the fabric composition, you know how to care for your piece. They have to declare where the piece was made, but those things are meant to be cut out from the piece once you bought them, because they actually weigh down the piece, and they can get stuck on things, and they can pull on the silk. So those are not meant to stay in there. So it's stitched on with the same stitching, and you're supposed to take it out so you can wear it reversed. I have never once reversed it, but this is one of those sweaters that every time I wear, I get compliments on this. Every single time someone says something about this. If it's not about the piece itself, it's just, oh, you look great today. But I cannot tell you every single time, whether I go to Chanel, I go to Van Cleef, I go to just for a browse or just to look around, every single time I get stopped and asked, where is this from? What is this? I need to know. It looks so expensive. And there is something about this cut that makes it look so expensive, because it is oversized, but it is really cropped, which makes it really, really flattering. At least it's cropped on me, because obviously it is from the women's collection. But it is one of those commercial pieces that I love. It was an amazing, amazing piece, and the quality is phenomenal.
I love that.
You need to bring it back.
Yeah. They're doing it. It's still around. They're doing it. It's still around. Just you never see anyone talking about it. I never see people wearing it. And I do think it's because of the price. Like when I bought this, I had an assumption of how much it was going to be. I had an educated guess. And I tried it on, loved it. I don't even know how I came across it. I think they had it in orange, and I was like, oh my God, this is such a special shape. But I think that's what happened. I think the first year they did it, they didn't do it in black. I think they did it in orange, navy, and pink, or gray or something. Some nice colors, but nothing I would wear. And then I was like, I want to get this if it comes out in black. And I think one year it actually ended up coming, the following year it actually ended up coming out in black, which is quite rare for MS to do black. Yeah, they came out and I was like, okay, I cannot leave it here. But it had gone up in price because each season they changed the fabric slightly. Some years there is more wool, other years there's more cashmere, sometimes there's more silk. So it does change very, very slightly. I don't think it makes that much of a difference. But I tried it on. I was like, yeah, I'll take it. I love it. I think I got it in a size 40. I went to pay for it. And they told me how much it was, which I think it was like 3K, just over 3K, just under 3K, something in that price range, 3K-ish. And I was like, wait, what? 3K for that sweater? And they're like, yeah, like if you don't want it, like completely understand. I said, no, I love it and I'll take it. But it, just like when you think that something is going to be like, I was like, maybe it's going to be 17, 1800. I was like, 2000 max, right? And then I don't remember the exact price, but when they told me that whatever range it was, that it was like close to 3K or just over 3K, I was like, okay, that's a price it is. But I guess they justify it by saying that you get a 2-in-1 because it is reversible.
2-in-1. You'll never wear it a 2-in-1. Like the 2-in-1, like reversible jackets. Nah.
No.
Rare. It's not maybe never, not to say never, but maybe for your sweater is never. But for most people, I think you'll find a side that you prefer, and it would be so rare to reverse it. The idea is great, right? Yeah. But things, the ready to wear, the commercial side in Hermes has gone up so much. It's the recent price increase here. A lot of the stuff starts at in Singapore dollars, so above 2,000, and you're like, wow, everything starts. The 1,000 something. It's like so rare. The t-shirts now are $1,000 over dollars.
Yes.
Just the t-shirt, the regular, like the one with the pocket, used to be what, 800, 700. Now they're like 110. Like, what? What?
Yeah, I remember. So the sweater you just showed us, I remember a subscriber told me, like, she actually DM'd me and she said, "Oh, I think you'll like this sweater." And I checked it out online. I never saw it in person in store because it was never in stock anyway. But I was just checking it out online. I was shocked at the price. I think it was like 5,000 Canadian. It was something in like, I was just like,
something insane, right?
God. Yeah, it was crazy.
Honestly,
Drew.
Amy, it would look so good on you. You would have to go down. I think you'd have to get the smallest size because it is like it's just very heavy. The piece
it has more of like the balloons, not balloon,
sleeve.
but like a little bit. Yeah. I would, and it's perfect for the weather here, I'm sure. When they have it, and if that's like what it needs for my next bag, then I'll get it. But I've never seen it in stock. From Jules, Madrid, what is your favorite luxury bag of all time? Actually, not your favorite luxury bag of all time.
My favorite bag. I do think that the most beautiful bag I ever bought, I was ever offered, ever seen is definitely the Rock 25. Yeah, I never used it in action, but no, not in action, because it's made of such a delicate leather. Like, I remember I pulled it out of the safe one time and I touched it and it didn't leave a mark, but like you could see the leather like stretching. And yeah, it's I think it's just that, like, with the shantung chain and the pockets and I'm not a white gold, I'm not a palladium, I'm not a silver person across the board, but that bag is just phenomenal. So like, if I had to pick one, that's like my ultimate, like the most beautiful bag I ever had anything to do with. But I actually have a couple of bags with me that I've actually been wearing a lot.
Yeah, let's see.
I was like, if we're talking luxury, I can show you these. So, okay, let me start with this one, which I think just saw your unboxing, Amy. I saw you posting an unboxing of this. I mean, I don't have the same color that you just bought, even though I love it. I think it's an amazing color, but it's actually a Chanel bag.
Yeah,
Oh,
I know
My
Chanel is
most
coming
used
back
bag
strong this season. I'm like, this year,
is a
I've been
Chanel
loving
bag.
Chanel.
uh-huh.
Oh, I love it. Yes, I remember you showing
Look at
this
that.
bag. You said that you didn't love it
Yeah,
at first, and then you didn't see the hype. You tried
no.
your friends one
Yeah,
on.
I really was not into it. It reminded me of a trash bag. It still does remind me of a trash bag, especially if you buy it in black. You know, it
Yeah.
does still look like a trash bag. Like, you know, it's the name of the game when it comes to this bag.
Mm-hmm.
But it just fills a gap in my collection. I really don't think that I have anything quite like it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nothing to do with it being Chanel. If there was another brand doing this, I would be just as happy with it. But it just works. It fits into my lifestyle. I cannot think of another bag that does what this does in such an elevated, luxurious way. I really like it. It's grown on me so much. You know, knowing what I know today, I would probably not suggest anyone go for the large size because this is the largest size. I don't know if they still do this. This is too big. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
5'11" and it's too big on me as well. It's too big on me personally.
Medium.
Mainly because, yeah, medium. Not only because the bag itself is quite large, that's one thing, but also the chain. And as soon as you start putting things into it, it will start getting longer and longer and longer. And it becomes such an awkward length. Like it starts hitting you like underneath your waist. And it genuinely looks like you're carrying around the trash bag. It doesn't stop me from using it, but yeah, the large is just too big. It's just too large at the end of the day. But yeah, this is a very, very loved bag. And then the other one is actually a roll bag. It is the bag that I initially bought instead of the Chanel 22. So I went to London to get the Chanel 22, not because you need to go to London to buy it, but I was like, well, I'm in London. It's going to be a nice treat to get for myself. But as I said, it took me some time to grow on me. And then I found this bag at the Row. It's called a poly bag, which kind of has a similar feel to it. And it's something that I still use quite a lot. Yeah, so these are the bags that I still carry these days.
It's hard to describe, but I think what you said is it's like the most casual way possible, but still elevated. It's really hard to describe because there's so many people that still hate the bag, and that's fine. They don't have to love everything, but
yeah,
it's so hard to describe to someone how much I love the bag because it's just so practical. It's literally the most casual bag that you can wear every day, everywhere, like to grocery shopping, whatever. And it brings the element of luxury because it just brings you joy when you wear it. I don't know how else to say it, right?
and
But
it's quilted and it has the chain, and the chain is really nice and heavy, and it has leather woven through it. So it definitely has like expensive looking and feeling details. Yeah, I do really enjoy it. Do I think it's overpriced for what it is? Do I think it's too expensive?
absolutely.
I mean, I guess I
Yes.
cannot say that, right? Because I am using it. I feel like because I am using it and I'm getting my money's worth out of it, I feel like it would be overpriced if I wasn't able to use it. But if you look at
Right.
I mean,
cost per wear and
maybe
how
it's
often I'm
expensive
able
maybe
to,
now it's overpriced. It's like now. Like if you got it in the like you got yours earlier. I got mine not really
Kind of early
early,
too.
but you know, still in the earlier couple of years, right? A year and a half ago.
It didn't go up
But
in that. Didn't go
oh
up
my god,
that
it's
much.
crazy expensive now. Like the medium is like 9,000 9 point something thousand Singapore dollars. So what, 8,000 euros? Anyway, it's just I think it's really expensive now. Like it's
yeah.
But I get it. I mean, it is a very functional, but you'll use it. So you feel like, okay, I'm paying it. And it's a great bag. But I do think they went up a little bit too much for it. It's significant now. How much did you buy yours for, Amy? Your the
My
small one.
first one didn't work out. Remember, I had to rebuy it. I
Oh
can't
no, but your
remember
small
now.
one, your silver one.
The silver one is over 8,000, but it was maybe a little bit cheaper in Hong Kong because there's no tax. But like here, the regular price here is like 7. 7
Close to
8
8.
something plus tax, 7,800 plus tax. So it would be over 8,000. I remember because I bought it in Hong Kong and there's no sales tax, it was just about 8,000, which is a lot. It is a lot, but I think in the grand
Yeah.
scheme of things, because if we're to compare, like that's how I look at it anyway, because there's not really any Chanel bags that are not expensive these days. So when I
Yeah.
compare, especially for the size, if you go with a medium, small Chanel 22, you're getting quite a lot of bag. There's really nothing else that you can buy, even for let's say 8,500, that there's nothing really that you can buy that gives you so much bag that you actually use every day. So I do agree it's expensive. Like you're forking out the money the first time. It feels like it's like you're like you don't want to dig that money out, but like once you start using it, it does feel like you get your money's worth. But
Mhm.
I think compared to like all the little seasonal bags that they have now, like all the seasonal flaps, whatever, they're already in the sevens, high sevens. So in comparison, I think the 22, you're getting more value for it. It's still expensive though, don't get me wrong.
Yeah. No, for sure.
A very happy place. How does your ostrich pochette how is it holding up? Does the color remain the same? I think she means
Structurally,
Kelly pochette, right? So your
Kelly
ostrich
Pochette. Yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's structurally beautiful. I think the Kelly Pochette is one of those bags that if you buy it in Ostrich, it will stay in great shape. I did have an insert from the very beginning, so that definitely helped. But I mean, the color is just you have to be so careful with it because it's in Baton. I think it's in Baton. It's just like especially Ostrich, it almost soaks up anything that you put it next to. And there is like no, like if that soaks up color, if there's any color transfer on that, there is no way back. Not that any other leather, there's really a way back,
Has
but
anything happened to yours?
no,
So
no,
you
no, no,
just
no.
know that if
I just know, and I know
Mm.
Ostrich really well because I do have a Kelly wallet that I have been using for. It was my first, was it my first exotic piece from Hermes? Maybe one of the, let's just say one of the first that I bought many years ago. I went through a phase of buying Kelly wallets every few months because I was so obsessed with them. So I have one I bought it when the color blue unk came out in Ostrich. And so that's something that I used so much and so often. And because it's in blue, like I feel like the worst for color transfer is denim and blue things. So because it's already in blue, you really don't see it. But I could just tell that if this bag ever gets near something that's very highly saturated in color, that will be
Like
the end of
denim?
it. Like denim. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. I didn't know
What about
that it
water?
soaks up color. Like, wow.
Actually, Ostrich is really hard wearing. Like, I mean, I'm not telling you that you want to get stuck in pouring rain. I could grab do you want me to grab my Kelly wallet? I think I have it in my
Sure.
wardrobe, so you can
Yeah,
have a look at it.
grab it.
Yeah.
Wait, let me figure this out because pie's slipping on my feet.
Oh,
Mind if I move
no
my
worries.
baby? I'll be
You
right back.
need a moment of privacy. Oh no, it's okay. Your
No,
chair,
I'm all
your
good.
background is nice anyway.
Clara is here. Let's pull Clara's comment. Clara says, "I love your top. Love Rick Owens." I thought I recognized the shoulder
Thank
line.
you. It's so funny because I feel like every time I come, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
My AirPods in.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, I feel like every time I come on the live, actually, let me turn these off because the sun has come up, so I think it's not gonna be too dark. Every time I come on your live, I always wear Rick Owens.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's so
yeah.
cool. I love the color on you, by
Nice.
the way.
It's a
I was
really
just like,
nice fit.
Thank
when I was
you.
drinking my cup, I was like, oh, I was like, same
Matching.
color, but then like it looks so good on you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so this is the Kelly wallet in a
Let
blue.
me put you bigger.
Ooh.
Do you want me to turn the lights back on? Is it better or worse now that I turned one of the lights off?
I
think it was better just now.
on now? Is
It's
it
good
off
now?
now?
It's on now. I can turn it. Wait, this is if I turn it on. What's
Oh,
better?
yeah.
You tell me. Better?
It's like brighter now, so maybe leave it on if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't mind at all. I just want to make sure that it's not too bright. But anyway, yeah, this is the Cali wallet. This was, I think I should still have the price tag in here. Oh no, this is the price tag from the pochette. Yeah, so I guess I don't have.
They give
here
you
anymore.
the
Anyway,
price,
this.
they give you the tags in you. Oh, they do in USA, right? I think they leave the stuff out in
Well,
USA.
you know, they don't, but depends on how nicely you ask.
Can I
Got it.
keep the price tag?
They always remove it
You know
here.
what? Yeah, they do it here too, but you didn't see that. Anyway, this is the Kelly wallet, and I bought this many years ago. So this is probably from 2017, maybe something along those lines. I'm really bad with numbers, especially years and times. But yeah, so this is how many, like 8 years old, 7 years old, something along those lines. And it's something I use to death. Like it is something that I used so often, and especially, you know, wallet. You don't just like, yeah, I have used it on its own as a clutch bag, but I also use this inside larger bags. So you chuck it in bags. It's next to keys and AirPods and lip balms and fragrances and whatever. But it's still in such amazing condition, and that's because Ostrich is incredibly hard wearing. I would say that it is the most hard wearing exotic leather by far, compared to, I mean, especially compared to Lizard. I mean, Lizard is the most delicate of all of them, but even compared to Luxee and Matte Croc or Alligator, Ostrich is by far the most hard wearing.
It's interesting that you keep saying that it's the most hard wearing. However, if it ever gets anything absorbed on it, color transfer.
But that's because of the color, right? Because my pochette is in such a light color. Like it is in, it's not blanc because blanc would be brighter, but it is in nata, which is such a light color. If it was any other color, I would not worry about it nearly as much. But because it's almost white, like it doesn't really matter what leather you go for. It's always going to be prone to color transfer if it's in a light color. It's same thing with a white t-shirt, right? Like a white t-shirt is going to be a lot more prone to getting marked and whatever than a black t-shirt would be, or a brown or whatever. So it's just really just comes down to the color.
What if it was bleu glacier? You know, the grayish, bluish color, light blue, gray.
I think it would definitely be better, but I personally wouldn't go for that color because certain colors make the follicles. So these are the hair follicles on Ostrich, which Hermes's hair follicles are actually pretty subtle because they iron them out. Some brands will leave them raised because they are usually more raised on the raw leather, but Hermes actually irons them out, so it's not actually quite that pronounced. But certain colors, so for example, pinks, like I would never buy a pink. I mean, I wouldn't buy a pink bag, full stop. But if someone asked me, should I buy a pink Ostrich bag, I would always say no, because certain colors will emphasize the follicles more.
They look like pimples.
Yeah. So if the base will remain lighter than the follicles, and it almost creates like a weird ring around it, which makes them look more pronounced.
Goodness. Okay.
Yeah. That's just my opinion. Some people don't mind it, you know. Some people even like those vintage Ostrich pieces that have like the really raised, pronounced
like polka dots.
But I would personally like polka dots, exactly. But I would either go for a dark color or a really light color, where the contrast between the two colors isn't that stark.
Oh, I see.
I'd go for a black, like a black Ostrich would be really nice. Like your dark one will be beautiful. It's really beautiful, but I think black will be, it's like at a certain angle you can see, oh, it's Ostrich. And I think over time, Ostrich as a leather also becomes more shiny, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right? It becomes more shiny, right? Because the more you handle it, the oils from your hands.
Yeah. I would never go for black though. Like Ostrich is the one leather I would never buy in black.
Because it's too
because
flat.
it's flat and it almost looks, because in a black bag there is no difference between the follicles and the base color, right? So it almost
Mm.
looks cracked or dirty, and that's just my personal opinion. To me, it almost looks like that there's something wrong with the bag. It's not meant to look like that.
Interesting.
That's
So the
it almost
color
looks
of ostrich is a tricky one. If you get it, it could look like
Yeah.
pimples, bad looking polka dots, or cracked. So you got to find the right color. So what are the right, like your blue is really nice. What would
Yeah, I
green be nice
love this
as well?
blue.
Would any of the greens be nice?
Blue ochre is beautiful. I also love yellow. They do these like really nice pastel yellow colors in ostrich that tend to be beautiful. I think it's easier to name the colors I wouldn't get. So I wouldn't get pink, I wouldn't get red, and I wouldn't get gray in ostrich. Like a taupe, a tan. I don't know if that's the actual color name in ostrich, because exotic colors, even if they're identical to regular colors, sometimes will have different names. But if you see a bag that's a taupe, a tan, like I would not go near those because they have a gray tone and the follicles are going to be darker. I wouldn't get, and I wouldn't get black. Everything else for me is something I would consider.
Okay.
But I think it's just personal preference. If you are looking for an exotic bag, this is great. You don't have to worry about size. You can travel with this. It's not an issue. And it is really hard wearing. Like if you want an exotic bag that adds some really unique texture to your collection, but you don't have to worry about where you're putting it, how you're putting it, how you're handling, what weather you're going to wear this in, I think it is a pretty good option.
Nice. From Joe Overjoyed, what is your top wish for your channel as a content creator? You look amazing.
Oh,
she's
thank
here
you.
also on the chat.
Oh, hi. Thank you so much for the question. And it's such a sweet compliment. What is my hope? I really am just like my channel has changed a lot. I definitely don't do quite as many sit-down videos as I used to. The majority of my videos these days that I do are more vlog style content. They're still luxury focused. Like I'm not just gonna talk about my life in detail, because I don't think that's what most people are interested in. They are definitely more personal than they used to be, but I do really enjoy making vlogs. And then my favorite thing that takes me the longest time to make, but I know that my audience really enjoys, is I have this series called the Truth About series. Have you guys ever seen those videos that I do? So I have this series called the Truth About series, which I started quite a few years ago now, where I basically do a really, really in-depth deep dive into a brand. Like in-depth as in I talk about how they started, their heritage, their most popular pieces, their in-store experience. I did one on Loro Piana, and I got to talk to the brand in Milan. So they told me so much about the brand. That was an amazing experience. I talked to my friends who are big Loro Piana collectors and who have a lot of connection to the brand. I did one on the Row most recently. I've done one on Van Cleef, Cartier, and those are like really, really in-depth videos. I love making those. It's almost like my take, or kind of a documentary. Like, of course, that's an exaggeration, but I love making those, and those seem to be really liked and appreciated. They take me forever to film, especially if it's a brand that I'm not super familiar with, because I like to talk to the brand. I like to go to, if they have a flagship nearby, I'll go to the flagship just so I can experience it for myself. And then if it's not a brand that I own anything from, I'll try to pick up a couple of pieces so I can experience them firsthand before I talk about them. So yeah, I would love to continue making more of those, and I have a few of those in the work. So yeah, just making more of those, and hopefully making content that adds value to people's lives. Like that's something I really enjoy.
Are you on TikTok? G? I can't remember.
I did a couple of TikToks, but I'm not active on it. I'm not super active on it. No. YouTube is the one thing that I'm able to stick to. Like even with going back to school, I used to upload twice a week, every Thursday and every Sunday. I decided to go down to doing it once a week on Sundays. With school, it would just be too much. uploading twice a week. So for now, I'm able to stick to once a week. But the YouTube is actually the one thing I've been on YouTube for 5 years, which is so insane. Like, I just cannot believe it. But it's the one thing I've been able to stick to for 5 years, uploading consistently at least once a week, if not twice a week.
Yeah. It is a commitment, right? Like it's a, and like your videos, they require a lot of research. So doing twice a week is, yeah, it's a lot. But
yeah,
once a week is good. Once a week is good.
Lovely question. I'm gonna take a question from the audience, the live audience, because I just saw it. Hi G, how is your Kelly Elan? Quick review, please.
quick review. Never got used, sadly. I got it because I was going to London, and it was my birthday. It wasn't during my birthday, kind of my birthday trip. And I was like, I really want something new for that trip to carry with me. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go for a color. They're like, okay, what color do you want? Like, we're so open to you getting a color because you never get colors, right? It's like anything but red and pink. So they offered it to me in bamboo, which is actually it's a nice shade of green, right?
Yeah.
But again, you know, it sounds like such a glamorous idea to be like, oh, I'm gonna get myself a special bag for my birthday in green.
So do you regret getting it then, since you've never used it?
I wouldn't say regret it, because it's a special bag and it's a special style. So it's not a regret, but I don't think it feels like a gap in my collection right now. Review-wise, what's special about the Kelly Elan is that it's something between a Kelly pochette and a Kelly wallet, actually, because it is
I forgot what a Kelly Elan
bigger
looks
than a
like.
Kelly wallet.
You
it's like
know
slightly more
it.
structured than this.
It's the shoulder one.
Trapeze.
It's the shoulder Kelly, but it's much more east-west.
Yeah. But to me, I feel that it's a jack of all trades and a master of none. Like, it's just trying to be too many things. Like, it's in between so many, like, it's in between a Kelly pochette and a Kelly cut, but it's neither one. It's in between a Kelly wallet and a Kelly pochette, but it's neither one. So yeah, I think maybe getting a Kelly wallet in another exotic leather would have been a better choice, in that I probably would have been able to wear it more often. But no, it's not a regret. I think it's a beautiful bag. I'm very grateful for it. But also the fact that it only has, you know, that short strap. It doesn't come with a strap. It has, well, it does come with a strap, but it comes in like a short little shoulder strap, which I would never use personally. Like, I would never carry that bag under my shoulder. It's quite restricting. But because it is slightly dimensional, like there is a little bit of body to it, and it's slightly bigger, you know, I'm just grateful to have that bag, because at least I can share with you these thoughts. I feel like without owning it, I would have never had any one of these insights into that bag. So no, I'm really glad, I'm really grateful that I got it. But it's just not a bag that I feel works with my proportions and my shape and whatever.
Would you recommend it then to anybody
I think for certain people, I would. I think if you are looking for, if you love the idea of the Kelly pochette, but you do want a bag that's slightly more casual. Not that the Kelly pochette cannot be styled in a casual way, but a bag that's more just effortless. You can just throw it under your shoulder, be out the door. I think it's great for that. Although I think what a lot of people don't consider, because I did try that short strap, so I'm not just saying I'm not gonna wear it like that without trying it. I did try it. It first of all looked ridiculous on me because my arms are a little bit thicker, so it was quite a struggle getting it over my arm, which is not Hermes' fault. But then what I think a lot of people don't realize is that you do have the twist closure, and the twist closure is going to be digging into your arm the entire time, unless you push it all the way to the back, and then the bag is like, hanging diagonal. But otherwise, it's not going to be a comfortable bag. It always reminds me of, those like little Prada bags that they make in nylon that so many people have, those like little things that people wear under their shoulders. Cute, right? Soft, squishy, made of nylon, no hardware other than the little triangle, which is flat. You can shove that under your arm. You're not going to have the same experience with this bag because it has a twist closure.
Right.
So you're never going to be able to carry this really close and snug to your body. It's something that you'll most likely carry handheld or grabbing it by the top handle. But under your shoulder, it's not, a bag that you're going to be running errands with and you don't have to pay attention to. And it's also quite long. Like, it's not, yes, it is a very, very thin bag, which in theory should make it comfortable, but it's also quite long. So I think it's a tricky one. I don't think it's a universally flattering bag. I feel like if you're into Hermes and you're more petite, you will love a Cali pochette. And I feel like most people will be able to make a Cali pochette work. Even if they don't love a bag that doesn't have a shoulder strap, you can style it one way or another. With the Cali Elan, it is tricky, especially if you're petite, because if you're petite, it's going to look like a clown bag because it has all these exaggerated proportions that will make it look like, like how clowns have those big shoes. I feel like that's the image that I have.
So
in
I
my
guess
head.
when you wear it under, you've got to like almost, push the bag back,
Push
right? So
all the way to the back,
so then the lock will be like, at the side of your arm here. But that's
or
sort
you can
of
pull
like,
it to the front, but then it's like,
oh yeah, it'll be like this. Okay, I
Yeah.
didn't think about that. Huh,
yeah.
interesting.
That's actually really good feedback. I think
Yeah.
until, that's something. Oh, that makes sense, I guess. Yeah, because it always seems like any fresh offerings, it always attracts you, right? So, but I've never. I think there was maybe one on display, if I remember correctly. I've kind of vaguely seen one, but I've never seen one on the body on anyone yet. So it's hard to imagine. But yeah, it would make sense actually.
Yeah, and all the pictures that you see online, like Instagram or people are showing it, they're always holding it. Like they're holding it this way, they're putting it in their arms,
Or they're just wearing it as a
wearing
clutch.
it on the shoulder, but they're like kind of taking the photo this way. So you never actually see somebody
In action.
in action. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a reason for it. And maybe I'll try to post a
Yeah, I
picture,
think it would be good
but,
to see a comparison between that mini Kelly and Kelly pochette. Just like a quick one.
yeah.
It would be such a
Yeah,
good
I do
video.
think it comes down to personal preference. I don't I think it's really personal preference. And you would think that you can fit a lot into that bag, but you actually cannot. Because
really?
it's a very flat bag. Yes, it is. There is a tiny bit of dimension to it, but you can only fit things in there like this. Like everything has to be like this. It cannot. You have to be. You have to like negotiate for space, and you have to be so like strategic about how you puzzle things in there. That I really don't think you would be able to fit as much into it as you would into a Cali pochette. Like the Cali pochette is a bottomless pit. Like that bag, I don't know how it does it, but it's like a Mary Poppins bag. You can fit so much into that bag because it opens wide. It's unstructured. You can really take advantage of every single inch of that bag because it opens so effortlessly. Whereas that bag is extremely narrow. The opening is really, really narrow, and it only opens so much because there's no structure to the bag. Whereas with the mini Kelly, even though there is not that much of a difference between a Kelly pochette and a mini Kelly, I think there's a 2 centimeter difference. The opening is so narrow on the mini Kelly that you can barely fit anything in there, especially if you have larger hands or if you wear rings and bracelets. Like it's going to be a struggle putting things in there. You're just going to like kind of, drop it in there and hope for the best, hope that it doesn't take up too much space. But a Kelly pochette is just such an easy bag. I do think it is the best mini bag from Hermes.
You've convinced us for sure. Okay, between the mini Kelly and the Kelly Elan, which one seems annoys you the more in terms of
the
like?
Kelly Elan.
Oh, really?
Kelly Elan.
Yeah. Oh, you mean in terms of packing it, in terms of how you organize it? Yeah, I still think I think it's a Kelly Elan. Like the only advantage that I can see to the Kelly Elan, I think some people might say that it fits a phone. Yes, it does fit a phone. I know that for me it's irrelevant whether it fits a phone or not because my phone never leaves my hands. I'll never put my phone into my bag ever. Like I always have my phone in my hand. So to me it's completely irrelevant whether a bag fits a phone or not. But I do respect the fact that some people like to have the option to put their phone in their bags, especially if they have kids or if they want their hands free for whatever reason. Yes, the Kelly Elan does with a phone. So I think that would be a good way of thinking about it. Do I want my bag to fit a phone? Because a mini Kelly these days most likely will not fit a phone, because phones are just getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
So it might technically fit a phone, but it won't fit much else. So if you put your phone in a mini Kelly, whereas with a Kelly Elan, yes, you can put your phone in there pretty easily.
But other than that, it still annoys you more because it's more.
Yeah.
It's still more narrow than the mini
It's more,
Kelly.
and the open, yeah. And also with the mini Kelly, at least you have a longer strap or
Right. And a
crossbody, right?
handle.
With
And the handle,
and a
yeah, the
so-
handle's
yeah, so you can wear it 3 ways. You can either carry it as a clutch bag, which is what I will usually do with the mini Kelly, because my hands are too big to carry it by the top handle. So I'll grab it by the body of the bag and use it like this.
Mm-hmm.
You can, of course, carry it by the handle, or you have a longer shoulder strap, right? With the Kelly Elan, you can either carry it as a clutch bag, or you can carry it holding onto the handle, which in theory should go under your shoulder, but it won't. Like for most people, it will be incredibly uncomfortable to carry it that way, unless you're holding your arm away from your body the entire time.
Oh, that's so good feedback, because I always think that, oh, I really want the bag, but then you never know until you buy it, right? And it's so hard to get one, first of all, and then
Yeah.
But if you, I don't know, if you
And
don't
it's quite
like, if
expensive
you
as
don't like
well.
it, sorry.
Yeah, and
go
I
ahead.
think I think it's quite expensive as well. Like I was
Right.
very, very surprised when I bought it, how expensive it was. I didn't expect. Okay, maybe I shouldn't say this, because I never bought a Chevre bag. That was my very first bag I was ever offered in Chevre. No, not the first I ever offered, but the first one I ever bought, because I'm not a big fan of Chevre. So my comparison was kind of inaccurate, because I never bought a Chevre bag before, so I didn't. Of course, I was familiar with the idea of Chevre bags being more expensive, but I never actually paid for one. So when I was offered it, I was really, really surprised. I think it was like 8,000 euros, something. Again, don't quote me on it. I'm just giving you a range. I was surprised that it was much more expensive than a Kelly pochette, because it does not feel as substantial as a Kelly pochette. Yes, it might be a little bit bigger, but it doesn't. When you look at it, when you feel it, when you touch it, when you handle it, it does not feel nearly as substantial as a Kelly pochette does. Yeah.
8,000. Wow. It's quite a bit, huh?
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Anyway, so the last question from this slide, and then we'll move on to the next. Is the mini Kelly practical daily? Would you choose the Kelly picnic? No, wait, what do you choose?
No, you're reading it right. It's just there are so many questions embedded in there.
Yeah. Okay. First of all, mini Kelly, and then the second question is, would you choose the Kelly picnic or just the Birkin 25 regular leather? I think that's the question.
I think you guys are a better reference point for this than I am at this point, whether a mini Kelly is practical daily, because I haven't carried one for daily use in years. So it's, I think I'm gonna leave this question up to you guys to answer, because yeah, I think your reference point is going to be more up to date than mine.
I don't think it's a practical bag for daily use. It's too tiny. And yeah, once you put a couple of things in the bag, then the bag's already full. So for daily use, unless you carry really little things, just like a couple of cards and your keys, then okay. But when I think practical, I also think there is that the bag's not so difficult. Like you got to close the bag. You can't just leave the bag open. So, and the size, obviously the size also is limiting, right? Because you want to carry a little bit more. From what I heard, I think the Kelly pochette sounds like a more practical daily bag than the mini Kelly. So that's my point of view. I don't think it's that practical. It's pretty, but
it's not practical, not for daily use. I will say the mini Kelly could be practical in a setting where you're traveling. So you don't have like your bulky key fob, car keys, maybe your key holder. Like you don't have those bulkier things, which is how I use the mini Kelly. Like I love bringing it to my trips. even then, I don't use it every day. I only use it on days that I am really downsizing and I'm leaving out some important things that I bulkier things. But yeah, not for every day. And then her second question is the Kelly picnic. I've never tried one, but from what I heard, it fits like very little as well. So I would probably, but that's just my opinion. I would probably choose Birkin 25. I think the Kelly picnic is a nice bag, but it's more of a collector's piece. So I don't know where she's at in her collection, like what she's after, because like me personally, I would never really ask for a Kelly picnic. For me, it's more like that's the same thing as the mini Kelly, and I probably prefer the mini Kelly if I could get another one, Yeah.
If it's for me personally, I completely agree with the points you made about the mini Kelly. That's also my experience. One thing that I actually used to love the mini Kelly for so much is I used to use it as not for traveling, so not to use it necessarily when I get to my destination, but at an airport. When the mini Kelly first came out, my first mini Kelly I think was in Mad Alligator, and I used to use that bag almost as a fanny pack, which sounds ridiculous, but I used to use it as a travel bag because it fits a passport, it fits kind of your phone, it fits a lip balm, it fits gum, and it fits a hand sanitizer. So it had all my essentials very, very close to my body in this expensive bag that I did not want to check in. I did not want it even to go into my carry-on. I remember I used to carry it that way, and then whenever I would get on the flight, I would put it in the dust bag, but I would still hold it. So I would have like the dust bag on my mini Kelly, but it would still be on my body because it was such a precious bag.
Yeah. I thought that makes total sense. I think I do the same thing. Like the bag's got a dust bag there.
I must have thought I was so cool for doing that. It probably looked ridiculous, but
No.
Totally
makes sense.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So it's actually it's if you're ever looking for like a fanny pack, that's it works as one beautifully. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. There's something about the mini Kelly that I love collecting. Well, I only have one, but I would love to collect more of. It's just it's the novelty. I think because I have bags that I use more practically, and then I have bags that I just want to have more colors of. And there is a practicality side of it, but it's really a very specific setting. Day to day in my own city with all the bulkier things I have, and they're not even that bulky, right? Like, but just the keys alone is gonna take up 2/3 of the space already. So
yeah,
makes no sense, right? Okay, here's a cool question from Miss Jean.
Sorry,
Hi guys,
Spice having a nightmare. That's why I disappeared, because Spice having a little nightmare, so he's running in his sleep.
What motivates you guys to buy new bags, and which bag? That was interesting. What motivates you to buy new bags?
Something new. I think it's very normal for us to want freshness and newness in our lives. I think that's really what it is, because if I look at my own collection, like, it's definitely, I have everything that I need, but it brings me joy, trying new things, reviewing things. It's part of our job. That's what we do here, right? Like, if I think certain things are good to share my first impression of and my impression of. I cannot buy every single thing, and I wouldn't, right? But certain things are good to like buy, review, and then share my first-hand experience. Like, I do find that that's quite important. And also, just like in my personal life, like, we all want something new, we all want something fresh. If it brings you joy, I can see why you would do that. Yeah. What would you say? What motivates you to buy new bags? What's your drive?
I'll let Kat go first.
I'm not sure. What motivates me to buy a new bag? Yeah, I guess the same. Like, I'm bored. I'm bored. I'm looking at my bags, I'm like, oh man, I need something fresh. And yeah, and also maybe I think I'm more an emotional purchaser. Like, I'm more an emotional buyer. So I would, if I need a pick me up, obviously it's a very expensive pick me up, the first thing I think about is bags. Like, I won't be, thinking of going for dinner or something. I'll be like, oh, let's look at bags. So if it happens to be a nice looking bag, and I feel like buying it, then yeah, I'll buy something because I'm bored. I'm bored and I'm looking for a pick me up. So that definitely kickstarts the why I want to buy the bag. Obviously, when it actually comes to paying it or going to the store and checking out, then maybe my logic sets in. I'll be like, okay, maybe not, maybe not. But what gets me started would be a little bit more. Yeah, I'm bored. I'm more emotional. I'm like, yeah, I need to pick me up.
And then does that create an emotional connection to the bags for you? Like if you buy it
Nah.
to use it as a
So
no.
I think those purchases are usually not all the time, not every time, sorry, but usually they do end up to be little mistakes if I do go with it, right?
Mm.
So uh over the years it has lessened a lot, which is why my collection is kind of fixed right now. Like I haven't really modified my collection very much. But over the past, say, 10 years of buying bags, it's a very different collection. I have gotten rid of a lot of bags that I bought because I was like, yeah, let's check out something new from Gucci or wherever. But with a bit of time, you sort of get your own style and you sort of know the mistakes that you make. So yes, it still motivates me to think about buying bags, but I think it's harder to actually make me buy the bag. I'm more, my logic sets in faster, I guess.
Makes sense.
I had to let you guys go first because I feel like my response is not as sophisticated. I think that my only reasoning is that I just love it. I just want to own I love, I don't know why, even if I was not on social media, which is kind of hard not to be these days because you could still be on Instagram, right? But I always, since as long as I could remember, I always love kind of just being coordinated. I love dressing up. There's no other better way to put it together. And so the bag becomes part of the outfit, right? It's an accessory. And because now I can afford to buy these things, because I obviously couldn't back then there's a better option out there, then you just want to keep buying the better option out there. So I think it's just because I want it. So I didn't really think that my answer was very sophisticated, but that's truly the raw feeling of like, I see it, I like it, I want it, right? So but I guess if I had to give a more kind of like explanatory I don't know. I feel like it would be boring to not want things in life. Like you always aspire to be better, right? Whether it's your health or like your career, you're trying to advance career. You're always trying to do better and just not necessarily in a way of like better as in I'm not saying that buying these expensive things makes you a better person or a better, like you're better because of that. It's not like that, but if you feel like a sense of achievement, so it feels like you're always kind of growing in a way. Does that make sense? So it's not the materialistic part that feels better, but in a sense it is because you're able to achieve these things.
Yeah, it's so interesting because it sounds like that Kat and I don't want to speak for Kat, obviously, but to me, it sounds like that we both enjoy the process of acquisition. That for us is more valuable, whereas for you actually enjoy owning the thing and having it in your possession. Whereas for me, like I definitely noticed that for me, it's much more about getting something, and once I have it, I'm like, on to the next. And that's why I don't buy quite as much because I picked up on this.
Boring.
I picked up on this, like, yeah.
But
I guess but Amy, I think for you as well, right? In a way, it is exciting to buy it, but because you, I think for you, I could be wrong, but you're more diligent in also figuring it out, right? Whereas I think for me, I'm more like, ooh, nice shiny thing, and then if I happen to buy it, and then after a while, like you said, right, after you own, you're like, okay, maybe I shouldn't have bought it. But it's
But
exciting.
I could feel that way too. I don't know. Why would you think that I'm more diligent?
Because you really put thought through it. I feel like I don't really put a lot of thought through it. I do to my extent, but you would really put thought to it. You like, consider it, look at it, how you use it, and then you like when you're actually acquiring the bag, you inspect everything about it. I'm like,
That's
oh,
because I'm so
am I
OCD.
supposed to check the corner?
I'm like literally the most OCD person. Well, not the most, but like I'm pretty OCD when it comes to like checking things. I don't know why. It's just how I am because I just did a what's in my bag for my Constance, and then Clara
Mhm.
is the person who gave me the little shopping bag, the little recycling, like nylon recyclable bag. It's not recyclable, refoldable. And I
Mhm.
always like it's actually quite a task to fold it because there's quite a few folds, and then you really have it's such a soft nylon. So you really have to fold it properly to put it back. But I cannot stand if it's just scrunched up, or like even when my mom uses it, she would give it back to me and she's all scrunched up, and I'm just like, no, it has to be folded neatly so that it fits exactly in that slot.
Very
And I'm
meticulous.
just like that.
You cannot
And
see the way I do it. I'm like,
probably.
like one ball. I'm like, okay.
I think certain things I'm able to be more like, whatever. But it's only because I've learned to let go somewhat.
Mm,
Especially when you start working with people and then everyone's a little bit different, right? You kind of have
Mhm.
to let go sometimes. Like they're gonna do their job the way they're doing it, and as long as they deliver the deliverable, that's all it counts. Like the process, I'm not gonna look at it because if I'm gonna look at it, I'm gonna get so stressed out. But
Yeah.
yeah, but I don't know. For me, I feel like it's the same even though my answer sounds different, but I feel like it's just because we all want things.
mm,
Yeah.
It's
We all do,
nonsense.
right? And we all
Yeah.
have our hobbies. Like I really dislike when, and this has nothing to do with this question. I'm not saying that this question implied this, but I really dislike when people use the word guilty pleasure.
Mm,
I detest that word with a passion.
right.
I really dislike that you'd have to feel guilty
Right.
for
mm,
something bringing you pleasure. As long as
mm.
you're not harming anyone else, as long as you're not taking
Hmm.
away from anyone
Yeah.
else, why would you have to feel guilty for anything? Like I passionately dislike when someone asks me, "Oh, what's your guilty pleasure?" And like most people will say, "Oh, I love reality TV." And I'm like, why would you have to feel guilty about that? Like what? Like we all love they're all things
Yeah.
that bring us joy. Why would you have to feel guilty about something? There are things that you should feel guilty about, but it's not things that bring you joy that doesn't hurt anyone else, you
I
know?
think again, I think I have to if I had to explain that because I feel like you're right. Like there's always going to be a lot of assumptions on social media coming from all
Mm,
kinds of people, viewers that we're like show up every week, but also strangers that we completely don't know. They don't know us and we don't know them. And they probably I would assume, right, that they like I'm assuming actually right now, but I'm assuming
mm,
that they assume that, like like they probably assume their circumstance on us. Because I feel like, okay, for us to be able to talk about luxury is definitely not a necessity, right? So unless you have all the basic human needs, all of that taken care of, then anything that is on top of that, whether it's your favorite show, your, I don't know, favorite things to acquire or favorite things to do that are outside of basic human needs, those things are just hobbies, basically. And it's okay to talk about them as long as everything else is taken care of. But I feel like a lot of people that maybe just randomly find us, or maybe they don't randomly find us, but they just love to have a certain comparison, like compare themselves
mhm,
to us, or maybe compare us to other people that may or may not be in the same circumstance, and they have prejudgment because of that. And so
mm,
um And it's hard because I think that's the danger of social media, right? Like there's all kinds of people, and yeah, that's all I have to say. I feel like that's probably the reason why we're so used to using these words that don't necessarily mean anything unless you're in that position, right? Or not in that position to be able
Yeah.
to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, makes sense. And then what was the other part of the question? What bag we're looking to buy, or what bag are we interested in? I think that was the
And
second part of the question.
so what motivates you to buy,
Mhm.
and
And what
which
bag?
bag?
And which bag?
Yeah, here, let me show it again.
I think if I was going to buy a bag right now, Hermes-wise, it would have to be something very special. Like I would love something. If I'm gonna spend money on another Hermes bag, it needs to be something special. And then otherwise, I did look at a bag. I think it was actually in the same vlog that's going live today. I looked at the Louis Vuitton Georges bag. Have you guys heard of that bag? Uh,
Louis Vuitton what?
Louis Vuitton Georges. It's George, but pronounced in
Oh,
the French
no,
way.
haven't.
So it is named after the founder of Louis Vuitton, and it came out. It's not a brand new bag. It's been out for a few months, and it got a lot of hype on social media for people saying that it is Louis Vuitton's take on a Birkin. It has a lot of similar characteristics to a Birkin.
Oh, is it the
I'm just
pouch?
waiting for. So there's a pouch that's part of the same range, but it's a large tote bag. It comes in MM and
Okay,
GM,
I
so there are 2
found
different
it.
sizes, and it's part of the men's collection.
Oh,
I'm just waiting for
yeah.
Amy to look it up because I don't want to distract her.
No, I just found it. I didn't
Yep.
even know about it. Wow, it's quite expensive too. Let me share my screen of.
Yeah.
Here on this. Stop
Oh
screen.
yeah, it is like a Birkin, doesn't it? It's got the Birkin. It's
It
got the
is.
Birkin feels.
Chrome.
Yeah. So I did review. I did share my thoughts on it in this vlog that's going live today. So I was intrigued. I was intrigued by it because it is part of the men's collection, and it is what I said in my review is that to me it feels like the men's version of the Capucine from Louis Vuitton, which I love the Capucine bag from Louis Vuitton. To me, the Capucine is not comparable to any other Louis Vuitton bag. To me, the Capucine is in its own league. It's not a bag I would ever buy because to me, it is a very pretty, proper, feminine bag. But I love it. I think the quality, the craftsmanship, the details are incomparable to anything else that Louis Vuitton has in their lineup. It is just kind of the most premium bag that Louis Vuitton offers. And this to me felt like the men's version of that. It fills the same gap in the men's collection in that it is extremely expensive. I think it's $11,000. $11,000? Yeah, I think it's $11,000 in the large size. It comes in 2 sizes, MM and GM. The smaller one is 41 centimeters, and the larger one is 49. And similar to the Birkin, it does have the flap. So does the Capucine. It does have 2 top handles, and then it has, to me, the most Birkin-esque feature on this bag is the sangles.
Yeah.
And the sangles sit on a bracket.
Yeah.
So I do see the comparison. I don't think, if you love Louis Vuitton, you'll buy this bag. If you love the Birkin, you're not going to buy this bag thinking that you are getting a Birkin because it is not a Birkin. It is a different experience. But it is beautifully made. It is huge, like it's gigantic, and it's insanely heavy.
It looks heavy.
Yeah. So that was the last bag that I looked at. Would I buy it? Definitely not. It's $11,000, and I can guarantee that it will be on Fashion File or whatever website in a matter of months for half of the price, if not less. Like, yeah, this is not a bag that, unless you are a loyal Louis Vuitton client and you love the brand and you do see the value in spending money at the store, in which case go for it. It's a nice bag, but otherwise just wait a couple of months. I can guarantee that it will be on whatever resale site you regularly visit for a fraction of the original retail price, because it's not worth $11,000.
Oh, it's too expensive. Wow. What leather is it? Is it the Torillon, the one that they use for the cap?
It starts with an M. It's a new leather.
This one.
M, right? Yes.
Milsim calfskin.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
That's
whatever
what I was
they.
told. I didn't want to try to
Mm,
pronounce it. I remember it starts with an M.
mhm.
It's
Hmm.
a new sustainable leather that they are using. I don't know what makes it sustainable. Do not ask me for
Sustainable
details, but
leather.
I think it's a new sustainable leather that Louis Vuitton is introducing.
Is
It's
it
very similar to
vegan
Louboutin.
leather?
It's
Let's take
No,
a
no, no,
look.
no, no. It says it's
no
it's sourced
sustainable.
from ethical breeders at Domaine des Massifs. So this
Yeah,
area.
yeah. So not
Oh.
sustainable, but ethical. Sorry, I misspoke.
Interesting. It must be
But
really
it's
nice.
most.
But sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, me. Please go ahead.
I was gonna say it must be really heavy because I mean their capucine is very, very heavy.
Yeah, insanely heavy.
Okay.
I'm looking at it online here. It's 14,200 Singapore dollars. No.
Wow.
Sorry.
Yeah.
No.
And I think it comes in 2
Wow.
sizes and 3 colors, maybe 2 sizes and 3 colors, I think.
Oh my
And then there's also a
God.
touch version, but I don't know if that's launched yet. There is a touch version coming.
I'll move on to the next question. Unless Kat, you want to comment about which bag you're motivated to buy.
Nothing at the moment, actually. I mean, we have our next video. Is it next week? Next
Mhm.
weekend, I think we'll talk about
Wishlist
some
video,
wishlist
yeah.
things.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm kind of all over the place this year. I mean, I still have one bag that I want to get, and that's my Birkin 25 gold on gold, and that's it. And I think I've waited so long that I'm just a little tired, which is why in our video next week we have a few like bags we're kind of interested in getting. I'm exploring LV again. I'm like, oh, give me a Murakami. I don't care. So nothing in particular, but I do like the side trunk. The more I see people use it, the more I've watched a few review of the side trunk. I kind of like it. I'm thinking like that's a good bag. So that's the only one. It's just that I'm not sure about the colors. They don't really have a lot, and it's quite expensive actually. So if I were to get that, maybe I'll try to look at the pre-love market and just enjoy the bag. Because I think it's going for like close to, some of them are like near the 7,000 Singapore dollars. So I feel it's a little pricey for that. It's still okay, but yeah, I would rather pay less. So that's the only LV bag that I'm kind of thinking of. Something for, if I'm talking about just this purpose, looking for something more in my everyday bag. So yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, I spoke a little bit about it on our mindset video, mindset luxury live show, and this year I just want more bags that are not black, like probably more in the lighter family color. So any in the cream colors. That's why the metallic I was really excited about, the metallic silver. But I don't really have anything specific in terms of like which exact bag. I mean, of course, I still want another color of the Mini Kelly just because I always find that gold, although it's a solid neutral, and it truly is one of the best neutrals out there because it matches with dark color and light color, but it's still not 100% me, the color wise. Because if anything, black would work better. But yeah, I think that's the reason why I would love to have another color of the Mini Kelly. But otherwise, I'm just gonna maybe focus on whatever is new or whatever attracts me this year that is on the light color spectrum. From Steph Louis, if you had to choose one, which one? Mini Lindy or Kelly 25?
You're asking the wrong person. I wouldn't choose either one. I would not spend money on either one of them. So that's my honest answer. I mean, it really comes down to personal preference, right? Like, there are two very different bags. Like, they cannot be mentioned on the same page because they will do completely different things
Yeah.
for you. even if you look at a Kelly 25 in return structure, it will still not be as casual as a mini Lindy.
Yeah.
So what are you going to use this bag for? What's your need? How are you going to use it? Are you going to use it daily? Are you looking for a bag that you can just grab, be at the door, that you can just carry to the grocery store, that you can just use without really thinking about it? In which case, the mini Lindy is a great option. If you're looking for a bag that makes more of a statement, something that's a little bit more structured, a little bit more formal, something that adds more to an outfit aesthetically, then a Kelly is great. And then at least with the Kelly, you have the option of cellier or return. So you can make it a little bit more formal and structured by going for the cellier, or you can make it more casual and more laid back by opting for the return structure. But yeah, I know that Kat is the expert on the mini Lindy, so I'll let her.
No, I'm thinking about letting it go. I did a video like, oh, thinking about letting it go. Because you know, what you said, right? It's casual, something like like the grocery store. But I feel like it's not adding anything for me, which is why, back to the question before, I think what I'm looking for this year is, I don't use not fun bags, but maybe not so serious. I feel like Hermes, some of my bags are just so serious. Like they're just either they're serious from the whole like Birkin, like, oh, it's a Birkin, or like my Constance, which is obviously, you know, the big H there. There's something about the Hermes bags right now. I love them to death. It's not that I don't, but there's something about it that it's quite yeah, I'm gonna get a better word than serious, but I feel like it's quite serious. There's not much you know, lightness to them. The lightness is at best the mini Lindy, but then I'm struggling with it right now. I'm like, maybe it's the color. It's like black and gold. So yeah, I it's cute. Like at the end of the day, when you look at it, it's like, oh, there's dinky little ears, you know, flap, everything's like so cute. But I think there are better bags out there. So better bags for what I'm using it for, which I'm using it for like grocery, running out the door. Yeah, maybe I just need a fun LV canvas bag that's you know, in that space. So yeah, I'm kind of struggling with it. So like if I had to answer this, I was like, no, I'm not choosing any as well.
I think
You know
for
what's
me-
actually so funny about? Oh, I'm sorry to cut you off.
no, no, go ahead. No, don't lose your
What I
train
was
of
going to
thought.
say is I definitely see your thought, Kat, and two things came to mind. One, something that I really have noticed is that Hermes, Birkins, Kellys, Constances, they become almost like autopilot. It's a default. Like if you're into luxury, you need to have one of these bags for you to consider yourself a serious collector. Back in the day when I first started buying Hermes, people were like, why would I want a Birkin or a Kelly? That's what old ladies wear. Like that's what most of my friends said. And those were my friends whose parents collected Hermes and who had access to these bags. They were like, I'm not going to wear these bags until I'm 40 because this is what my mom wears. This is what my grandma wears, or this is what, you know, what old people wear. Whereas now it has become almost like that everyone needs a Birkin, everyone needs a Kelly. And of course, I'm talking in the luxury space. I understand what a privilege it is, as you said, Amy, to have your basic human needs met and then to be able to spend money on these things. Of course, it goes without saying, but it has almost become like this. You're not a serious luxury collector until you have a Birkin or a Kelly. And it's like, we don't even question how these pieces aesthetically fit into your life and into your collection, because not everyone suits a Birkin, not everyone suits a Kelly, not everyone can just go into Hermes and be like, give me any size because it will suit me, because you cannot make all of these bags work. If you enjoy them and if you like them, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. But I'm very big on proportions, and proportionately, I can tell you that I don't think that every single bag will work for every single person. But it's almost become like, oh no, everyone needs this bag, and we cannot question not the authenticity, but we cannot question the authority of these bags. It's like these are the creme de la creme, the best of the best. Yeah, the bag, and it cannot be criticized, because if this gets criticized, you have no taste, or like you can, you know, or you're criticizing it because you cannot get it. It's weird, like that. It's like it's untouchable. Like it's on a pedestal, and no one can say anything about it, and everyone needs it. Otherwise, you're not a serious collector. So yeah, these bags don't look great on everyone. These are not fun, light-hearted, playful bags, as you said. Yes, you can go for a light color, but these bags will still have like this old school sophistication to them, which is something that they do beautifully, but you don't always want that necessarily. They don't suit every single, collection and every single outfit and whatever. But you know what I was going to ask you, Kat, actually, my other thought was about Louis Vuitton. A bag that I have actually been thinking about is you guys know how they brought back the Speedy, but in leather for the
P9. I was
collection?
thinking about asking you, are you buying the P9?
Is that what it's called? P9?
Yeah.
So I would 1000% buy that bag if it was available without the LV monogram. If that bag, the shape came in leather, immediately, I wouldn't even think about it. If that bag, just the large size, I don't even know what size it comes in, but I've seen Pharrell, I think it was even before it came out, he did the millionaire version. Louis Vuitton is really big on the millionaire. They have the millionaire sunglasses, the millionaire whatever. So they did the millionaire Louis Vuitton Speedy, where it was matte croc or matte alligator. It was printed on top of the matte croc with the Louis Vuitton monogram, and then each and every single hardware detail was made of solid gold. Did you guys see that?
I think so.
And I think it's called a millionaire because I think it's like $1 million. And I think it comes in a Louis Vuitton trunk, something ridiculous. But obviously, it's not, it's not something I'd ever spend money on, or is it something that, I could even prioritize. But if that Louis Vuitton bag was available in just plain leather, I don't think I could justify buying it in exotic leather. But aesthetically, I would love that bag if it was in matte alligator, no print on it, just matte alligator, just that Speedy shape. I think that would be so beautiful. Don't think I would buy it. But if it was just plain leather, I would immediately buy it. Because I love that shape so much. And that's a shape that you would want to buy in different colors. Because it's fun, it's playful, there's so much you can do with it. Like even if they did it in what's the textured leather that Louis Vuitton uses? The one that has like the lines? I think it starts with a T.
Oh,
it's like a really epi. Yeah, yes, that's the one. Like even if they did an epi leather, I think that would be so cool, because they did do the Speedy at one point in epi leather for women. But if they did this oversized
very long
version,
time ago, they actually discontinued that.
right?
I think a friend of mine has it, and it was the size 30. Yeah, they had like yellow and green, and that was a long time ago in epi.
Red.
Yeah.
Do you remember? I feel like red was the biggest one. The red epi leather.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Amy, I interrupted you, by the way. You were going to say something.
No, I was just going to answer this question myself too. But my take on it is that because I feel like if we're comparing, like you said, the Mini Lindy and the Kelly 25, they're completely different bags aesthetically as well. But without knowing Steph's or anybody asking these questions aesthetic or their proportions, without knowing any of that, the way I would approach it is, I feel like I would answer the Kelly 25 only because when you're at these kinds of price range, especially with Hermes, like the Mini Lindy used to be a little bit better price, but these days they are in the $10,000 range already, right? So
11 now.
It's really it's such a hard decision. Well, actually, it's such a hard way to accept this kind of price range for a bag that is not in the must collect sort of category, right? Because the BKC, they're a trifecta for a reason. It's almost like, yes, if you're a collector, you must get those regardless. I feel like if you're going to invest that kind of money, and if you can invest that kind of money, but you still have to choose between the two, I would just get the Kelly 25, because if I'm going for a more casual bag, I would just go with the Chanel 22, or just any bag, actually, for that matter. Maybe even the Evelyn would work just as fine, but you're not paying Kelly price. I know the Kelly sub more expensive, but that's beside the point. Like the Mini Lindy, unless you can get it for a, I don't know, better price, or maybe if you've got it a long time ago, or maybe if you can get it in the pre-love market in good condition, and you know for sure that it's a style that works for you, and you're okay with that kind of price range, then yes, go ahead. Again, that's like that's like that's like being very kind of what's the word?
Strategic.
Pulling thread. Yeah,
Strategic.
yeah. Like it's
I think
because
that's what Kat meant earlier when you said that you're meticulous with your shopping. Like I would have never approached it so strategically. Like your
okay.
breakdown is so rational and it makes so much sense. For me, it was just like whichever you like more, like whatever looks more
But it
pretty to
is
you.
like normally you still have to go with whichever you like more. But if you're like for a person to ask this question means that she cares about the budget, in my opinion, right?
Yeah,
For you to
yeah,
question whether you should go for a Kelly 25 or a Mini Lindy because they're totally different bags to begin with. So basically, you don't
yeah.
even know if the style works for you. Then I would look at the budget side because in terms of value, I feel like you cannot go wrong with the Kelly 25. It's a classic. You'll wear it when you're 60. Whereas the Mini Lindy, it's such a casual bag. You may have fun with it now, or you may have fun with it forever, but you don't know that until you own it. And it's such a casual bag that at one point you might get bored of it and the value will no longer be there. Whereas the Kelly 25 will always be a classic. But anyway.
So wise.
All right, let's try to finish our slide. I don't even know if we have time to go through your questions, G, but Lily Bay, she wants to replace her lock on the picotin with something else. Would the keychain, the Hermes keychain, be too heavy? I don't know the Hermes keychain. Do you know which one it is?
I mean, there are several different ones that they offer.
No.
They do the pompons. Do you know those like little leather pompons? That was their very first keychain they've
Oh,
ever done. Yeah, I would definitely not recommend those. Um, they do so many now, especially if you look at the men's collection. They always do new ones for the men's collection. They do like hard wired ones. I bought one as a Christmas gift a couple of years ago. That was a horseshoe. It was like a metal horseshoe.
yeah.
They have a horse head, and it's like a metal wire that's like bent in the shape of these different like equestrian things. Yeah, I think they would be heavy enough. You just have to make sure that they actually fit into because the hole on
Mhm,
the Kelly, the not Kelly, what it's called, picotin lock is quite small. So you have to make sure
mhm.
that the keychain that you buy, and also some of them come with like those twist closures that
Is
what are they
it the
called?
Ganna? This one? This one, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So they have different. But the cadena is one of many that they offer, but they do different ones. I think it can be fun to do that, and I think it would be heavy enough. Because I think the question was, would it be heavy enough
Yeah,
to
would it
pull
be
down
heavy enough?
To
to
pull the
gather
bag
the
with the
bag?
shape, right?
Yeah. I think it would be. Yeah, I mean, it depends on which one you go for. The leather ones might not be quite as heavy. You just want to make sure that you can actually get it through the hole of the mini Kelly, because I use not a mini Kelly, the picotin, uh, because the picotin lock is of course thinner than most keychains. So that for me, that would be a more important question for me to consider than which style to go for. I think it would
Mhm.
be which style fits onto the picotin.
Okay. I think we are at our 2-hour mark, but I just want to pull this comment for you, G. They do the P9
Oh,
Speedy in size 40 leather without monogram, plain black and brown. There you go.
P9. Okay, I'm gonna write this down. P9. Now I know what it's called.
P9
Thank you so
Speedy.
much, Christy. Okay.
But
So next
apparently they are
time,
making the P9 like they're very like exclusive. So you can't actually just buy the P9. You've got to know somebody in LV to pre-order it, or they're
really,
making it exclusive. Like these, they don't make many of them. All that. It's
I'm
P9.
seeing. I wonder if this is what Christy means, because I'm seeing it in black leather, and I've seen this before, but this is still printed.
Oh.
So I think Christy means something else, because they do it in the so-called ultra black, which I have seen. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it. So you see, it's black, but it still
Ooh.
has the monogram.
Mm.
I don't know if this is what Christy means. Perhaps because she said leather without monogram. I'm just not seeing it on the website. So it's something I should ask about, because I've never seen it. So this is an amazing insight. I should look into it.
What is a P4? Oh, this is a 40.
But
Oh,
it's
there you
true
go.
though.
There,
I've never
40.
seen.
40.
Do they have?
40.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not even 40 here. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong page.
Yeah, size
Oh
40.
my God,
Size
amazing.
40.
Yeah,
So
that's the
cool. I
40.
didn't even realize it was called P9. That's an amazing insight. Okay, thank you. I'll
There
look
you
into
go.
this. Oh my
Big
God, so
one.
cool.
How much
But
is
it's a
it?
little bit expensive, no?
How much is it?
I don't know. I don't see it. How much is it? Cat.
Just say it, Kat.
21,000 Singapore dollars.
Wait, what? How much would that be in dollars, like US dollars? 21.
Oh, I guess divide by 1.4, right? Because the USD is quite expensive. Although you never know,
Yeah.
because USD it doesn't always
USD
convert
is 1.4.
exactly.
Yeah, 1.4.
Yeah, so I'll do a quick 1.4. It's still
15,000, I think.
15,000, at least 15,000, but it could be more because like
It's
they don't
Go and check
always
it
do
out.
the
Do a
direct
vlog. Do a
conversion.
vlog on the P940.
Well, look, I'll look at it. I don't
Look at
see
that.
myself spending that much money on a Louis Vuitton bag, but I'll look at it.
Big.
It is really cool. You know what it actually reminds me of? I think the reason I love it is because I actually love the Louis Vuitton duffel in Acti leather.
Oh, there you go. Sorry.
Thank you, Deborah.
Almost 15,000 plus tax. I guess it will
my
be
God.
over 15. Yeah.
Wow. That is insane. I'll look at it. I'll ask if the local Louis Vuitton has it, because they didn't have this George bag either. This George bag is exclusive. So they didn't. I went to Louis Vuitton twice. The first time I went, they didn't have it, and then they said, "Oh, we'll let you know if we have one if one becomes available." And so they did. But the one that I tried on in the vlog that's going live today, it was a personal order for someone. So that's why they had it in store. Otherwise, they wouldn't carry it, or at least the store in Amsterdam wouldn't carry it. So I'm not sure if that's the case for this P9 as well, that you cannot just, as Kat said, it's more exclusive. So you have to pay for it before you get to look at it. Like, I mean, if you pay for it, then you look at it, and then you can still choose not to take it, because Louis Vuitton does that sometimes, that they will make you pay for something to get it into the store, but then when you look at it, you can still say, "Oh, sorry, it's actually not for me," and then they refund you. I mean, I would consider looking at it, because I am genuinely intrigued by it. But thank you, Christy and Deborah. Now we know. Yeah, I'm genuinely interested. But 15,000.
Size 40. You're interested in size 40?
I
Size
think
40
so.
is
Is that the
successful.
biggest one?
Yeah.
No, I'm just
Yeah.
asking because for sure I'll never get a size 40, but I'm just wondering if
Yeah,
you're
I mean,
looking for-
it would have to be a big. If I would buy one, for me these days, it would have to be a big bag. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
but I've
It
never
should be
tried.
big.
I didn't even know it was called P9, so I don't even know what the different sizes are, or like how they compare to each other. So it's it's not really a priority. It's just something I'm intrigued by. So I never really looked into it.
Yeah.
But something I should ask about next time I'm at Louis Vuitton.
We'll see it on your next unboxing. or maybe your next video discussing your new wish list. But anyway, it is well over the 2-hour mark. Thank you so much, G, for coming to the show. We really appreciate it, and it's always so much fun catching up with you. But yeah, it's been really nice catching up with you. Hopefully we'll do it again soon, maybe before the end of this year. See how
I would love that.
go.
Thank you so much for having me. I always love talking to you guys, and you have the most amazing audience. So thank you for having me. It's always so much fun.
Oh,
Good luck in school. We'll see you. We don't want to see you like 10 months later, so definitely come back sometime this year.
Yeah, let me know. I'm here. You know where to find me.
Awesome. Well, have a great rest of your day. I'm off to bed now because it's 1 a.m. But
Nice.
yeah, thanks so much. And then we'll see the rest of the audience next week.
Sleep well then. Yes. See you guys soon. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.